Hello, I'm Professor Toybox. I'm here with Sorcerer's Apprentice Mickey, and I'd like to welcome you back to my Fantasia toy box for another episode of Toybox Tutorials. We've been working on a small side quest for Mickey, helping a farmer find his lost sheep. This side quest will only be available after Mickey completes the first part of the main quest, namely rescuing the villagers over there from the brooms. I've just loaded up this toy box, and you can see that the yellow radar marker for the main quest is on, and the blue radar marker for the farmer's side quest is off, so that's good. However, the dynamic trigger that's around the farmer is on, and it's on by default, so that when I load up the toy box, that's on, and even though the radar marker isn't showing up, if I were to walk up to him, that dynamic trigger triggers the text displayer for his mission. I'm going to cancel out of this because I don't want to do that. And so I don't want that dynamic trigger to be on, just like I don't want the radar marker to be on. I want to have to finish the main quest in town before his quest becomes available. When you put a new toy in the toy box, some of the toys have properties that you can set to turn them off. So if we look at the radar marker, for example, and we look under properties, we can turn this on or off by default. And the game remembers that setting when we save the toy box. And that's why the radar marker isn't on. But the dynamic trigger does not have a property like that. There's no way to turn this off except through a logic connection. And so that's why that is still on. And there's a couple of different ways to do that. You could drop down a trigger area around the starting pad and set that up so that when the player exits that trigger area, it connects over to our dynamic trigger over there and turns it off. And I've done that before in other toy boxes, but there's actually a better way to do that. That's to use the level starter, and that's our topic for today. You'll find the level starter in the Creativa Toys drawer, and I'm going to drop it down right here next to this button that I put down before I started the video. And if we look at the logic menu for this, there are two properties. There's a delay in seconds, and so this toy is going to be automatically invoked by Disney Infinity once the toy box is loaded. And right when the toy box finishes loading, it invokes this toy. And if you don't want that to happen right away, say you want to have that happen 5 or 10 seconds later, you can set this delay property to however long you want to wait. If you're not sure how long you want to wait, you can come down and turn this off so that the Disney Infinity will not invoke this toy when you first start the level. I'm going to go ahead and leave that on. And if you were to turn that off, then it's up to you to invoke this manually. And you can do that through a logic connection. So if we were to connect the button up over here, we can do a new logic connection when pressed. And then say start. And then pressing this button would cause that level starter to go off. And I'm not going to actually use that, but you could use that to set up like a reset button, and I've done that in some other videos if you've seen that. But basically the logic, the level starter here, you can set up a new logic connection, and there's only one trigger signal that this broadcasts, and that's catalyze. And that basically means invoke for all intents and purposes. So when you load up the toy box, the Disney Infinity program is going to automatically invoke this toy, and this toy will broadcast this catalyzed trigger signal to every toy you hook up to the level starter. And so I'm going to use this so that on catalyze, when that happens, we're going to come over here to our text displayer, or rather to our dynamic trigger, and turn that off. And now, of course, the dynamic trigger is still on, because in order for this to work, we have to exit out of this and restart it, or have that button hooked up, as I mentioned. But now we have a level starter, and now that should set the correct state of that dynamic trigger. But before we can do that, we need to save, because if I exit out of this toy box and reload it without saving, it won't remember the fact that I dropped the level starter in here. So we'll go ahead and save our game. There we go. And now I could probably load the toy box again from in here, but I'm going to go ahead just to make sure this is clean. I'm going to quit out of this toy box and we'll load it up fresh. So back here at the main menu, we'll select toy box saves, and we'll load the Fantasia toy box. And I'm going to go ahead and fast forward, and I'll meet you back here in just a moment. Okay, the toy box is almost done loading. And right here, I believe, is where the level starter kicks in. Is right where you're starting to materialize on the pad. And so now that should have set the correct state of that dynamic trigger. So we'll walk over here and walk up to the farmer and make sure that that's off. And there we go. The text displayer was not invoked because the dynamic trigger was off. So I can run up to him and nothing happens yet. And we've already hooked it up in town so that once that main quest is finished, that'll turn on the radar marker and the dynamic trigger for him. So that's it for the level starter. It's a simple toy and easy to use. And with that, our little side quest for Mickey to save the farmer's sheep is finished. Next time, we're going to start building another side quest that will be much more exciting. Be sure to sign up on my blog or subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done that so you don't miss the next episode. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.